It's definitely scary to do this. I think if you're not scared and you're not like amazed by the size of it, then you should probably check yourself because you have to respect the jumps, they're massive. Hey guys, it's Vero Sandler here. I'm out at Darkfest 2024. Course is behind me right there, that's the 90-foot jump and the 110. Such a good course and it's running insane this year. Unfortunately, I'm not riding because I just had surgery on my shoulder. But I'm out here hanging out, I'm getting some clips, and I thought I'd take you on a little day in the life, so follow along. When I was 14, I started mountain biking. My little brother actually started before me, and he made it look really fun, so I wanted to do the same thing as him. So I followed him into mountain biking, and we would go for some rides together, and then I joined like a little local kids cycling club and we'd go to some races together and stuff, and then I got like really inspired, so I started doing some downhill racing, and I did downhill racing for years. I like got better and better, and then I did like the national series, and then I would go over to Europe and race like the world champs and the world cups over there, and I did that for years, but I was never sponsored and I was never really good enough to make a career out of it, so I stopped racing after quite a few years, and I just rode for fun and chilled with my friends and discovered a new kind of mountain biking, which was freeride. For me, I was like, this is where I belong, this is where I want to be. So then I just started doing more freeride mountain biking, and I progressed from there. My riding just progressed more and more, and because I loved it so much, I was so motivated to go out there and progress my riding, so that's got me to where I am today. Do I? Hey, can I get a bit of you with this sick sign? Wow! What did I do?
Well, yeah, with the girl.
This? We were all partying, and every year here, all the boys shave their heads into crazy things. They were like, Vero, you have to get a nutty pee, which is that haircut. And I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna do that. And then they started saying they would give me money. So I was like, okay, if I can get like 2,000 for charity, then I'll do it. And then they just gave me so much money. I was like, fuck, I have to do it. So I shaved it. But we made a lot of money for like a local charity, which is sick. The way I discovered freeride was it kind of came naturally to me. When I stopped racing, I just started riding for fun, and I was riding with a really cool crew of guys who love to do jumps and love to learn tricks. So I was just like copying them basically. And then I discovered a whole new kind of riding that I'd never done before. And that's where the love of freeride really started. Like, it definitely took me some time to get good. When I raced, I never really learned how to jump properly. So I was learning to do proper like steep jumps and learning those skills first, and then I started learning small tricks, like I would take one hand off and then eventually take them both off, and it all just happened over time. I definitely wasn't amazing to start off with. It definitely looks easy on videos, I think, because like most people just make it look so smooth and effortless, but it's definitely not easy, and it's definitely like quite scary as well, you know. There's like a big risk involved, and there's so much of time and effort that goes into learning tricks that you don't see online. You could spend like, some people spend years learning some tricks and really perfecting them. The female freeride movement has been growing hugely over the last sort of 5-6 years. When I first got into freeride, there wasn't really much support and there was a few women who had some support, but they weren't doing it full time. But the more of us who have got into it, and the more progression that's being shown, and the more events that we're invited to, and the more opportunities we're getting, there's more and more support for us. So that's growing the sport hugely. Like every year there's like so many new women coming in, absolutely smashing it, that you've never heard of. It's just blowing up, and it's so cool to see. I love it.
You said in an interview that if you are not in the top 5 as a woman, no one's care. What do you think about that?
Yeah, with the downhill, that was true. Like a few years ago, if you weren't in the top 5, you weren't getting any support and you couldn't ride full time. I think it's changing now. There's more and more support for the women. Now there's women in the top 15 who are like fully sponsored full-time riders, so it's really sick. It's cool that the industry is giving more support to women who ride.
Do you aspire to become a model?
Yeah, I mean, I just like do what I do, and I try to be the best person I can be, and hopefully that's something that people are inspired by. Thank you so much.
I'm a very bad mountain biker. I can't do like this gap jump, but I love seeing you girls doing it.
Oh, thank you. What was your name?
Ruth.
Nice to meet you.
We have a proof. You became a model.
Thank you, that was so lovely. I'm stoked. I never really lose motivation. Sometimes if I have a big crash, then I'll be really scared afterwards, which is just natural, and I think it's good to be scared because it is really gnarly what I'm doing, and it's good to be aware of that. But it's not a lack of motivation, it's just like a, whoa, okay, like a reality check, you know? So, but yeah, I don't ever really lose motivation. I just like go through highs. It's a very like up and down sport, you know? 1 minute you're sending the biggest jumps in the world and you're like, woo, and then next minute you're on the floor with an injury, so it teaches you a lot. Last year I had like 2 of my biggest injuries. I've never really had proper injuries before, so last year was a big learning experience for me because I had actually 3 injuries back to back. Midway through the year I had a big crash and I had a big concussion and I separated my left shoulder. So that was a big learning curve. The concussion was crazy, like the recovery for that was something like I've never experienced before. So it was really tough, but I learned a lot from it and I feel a lot better now. The way I deal with fear and stress has definitely developed over the years. Like, it's an ongoing process of learning and perfecting always, I think, for everyone here. And then I try to manage my fear by just being sensible, you know? Like, I never try to go just hit a jump without thinking about it. I really, like, do my calculations and make sure that I think I can do it. And then I will usually follow someone into the jump, so I get the speed right and that everything's perfect. But yeah, managing fear is an ongoing process, and I've read a lot of really inspiring books and listened to a lot of inspiring podcasts and stuff which have helped with that. But yeah, it's really cool actually because it keeps you on your toes, and I think if I was doing this stuff and I didn't have any fear, then something would be wrong. When your hobby becomes your job, I think you have to find a balance in where you can keep it fun, like it's your hobby, like it's always been, but also remember that it's your job and you need to work hard and stuff. And I've definitely been through phases where I've had to learn a balance in that, you know, like I put a lot of pressure on myself usually to perform and do really well at everything I do. So when riding became a job, there was definitely a period where I was like putting so much pressure on myself to perform, which I didn't do before because I didn't have any sponsors or anything like that. And it took me a little while of working out how to do things and how to balance them out so that I could make sure that I really like can keep the love for riding forever. And yeah, so I've dialed that in now, which is awesome. It's a wrap. Yes, mate. Smashed it.
Thank you.
The bell's on.
Yeah, do you want to just stay there and everyone can hang out?
Please.
All right, next.